So top three registered. I see here Hikaru, Gorgmeyer. Who's Big Fish? Oh, Fedoseev. So he's also a pretty good blitz player from Russia. The 21-year-old. Volume's good. Hello, Anna. Hello, Lethbridge Vism, aggressive moment. All right. All right. So we're going to start off following Naka. We haven't seen him in a while. He was not playing the World Chess Championships, obviously. And he's got an IM first round. Playing a sideline against a Sicilian makes a lot of sense. If I was playing Blitz, I wouldn't play mainline theory against a Sicilian all the time, since you can be more flexible. Not a very challenging setup by Black because he's given White e4 and d4. Very comfortable center control. Both sides get to develop freely, but White has more space. Gonna open up my energy drink. It's starting to get a little cold here in Montreal, but it's been very mild thus far. So it's a good sign. The colder it is, the better you feel playing chess. So I expect Nakamura to look to develop his dark squared bishop, the last piece in. Once he can get this bishop out, he's going to look to bring the rooks to the open file and improve the positioning of his queen. Okay, that's a slightly surprising move, but perfectly playable. I dropped the vitamin pill. That's okay. But yeah, if you're going to ask me who the favorite is, I think there's a clear favorite right now. There's only one 2700 grandmaster in the field, and that's Naka. So as we can see, Black has a weakness on d6, isolated pawn there. That's probably the biggest factor so far. I expect White to maybe continue. He has knight d5 with serious pressure. I'm going to take on c4, then knight d5, but this pin is extremely annoying right now. And yeah, he played knight d5 as expected. And knight takes b2, queen f3 adds a third piece to the pin, and Black has no way to defend that. So serious threats by Naka already. By the way, Amon Hamilton, who commentated the earlier event today, is playing in the event. KNVB over here. Oh, let me just exit that for a sec, but just a heads up. So now knight takes f6, bishop takes f6, and bishop takes h6. Wins a pawn, as far as I can tell. Although Black is threatening the b2 pawn, so it's not entirely clear how the complications go, but I fully expect that to happen. Bishop takes h6. Yeah, okay, yeah. Maybe not enough time to take here because the rook is hanging, and I'll just play queen d2. Hello, Frozen Edge. Hey, Bloody Bob. Guys, we're going to need some energy. It's 8 p.m. here. And we're hoping for some good late-night blitz. But right now we see a position where Naka is up a pawn and looking to hunt. After knight takes b2, I wouldn't be surprised to see queen g3, for example. And queen g3 is on the board. He's threatening queen takes g6 because the pawn is pinned. Also d6 is hanging. Black's king is all of a sudden looking pretty vulnerable because, for example, king h7 defending it, I can still do bishop takes f7 and still I'll be threatening the g6 pawn. So this is not looking too good. But knight c4 will block the diagonal, and that has to be played. But the transition here of the queen to g3 must surely be beneficial for White because as a result, the rook on a1 found a very nice file on the d file. Let's see what else is happening. Huh. Knight f3, moving the knight out of the way, maybe preferring bishop g5 or knight g5. But black's king is not safe, and black is down a minute and a half. That's not a good time situation. Very worrisome here. But I'll make a more firm prediction. I think Nakamura is going to win the event if he starts off well. But he's going to have a few very tricky lower-rated opponents in the first few rounds. Whenever I play Title Tuesday, I often lose in the first 4 rounds and then make a serious comeback and finish with a relatively good score. But I think today Naka's going to start off strong, and there's nobody in the field who can really take that from him. Game over. Not even competitive. Not even competitive. 2 minutes and 10 seconds left for Naka at the end of that one. It's actually, let me adjust the board here, guys. Just give me a sec. Yep. There we go. All right. So here we have the number 2 seed Georg Meyer from Germany. And he is playing another IM. And his position is not as decisive. In fact, the main factor here is that he is up 50 seconds or a minute, because he has an isolated pawn and material is even after rook takes b1. What happens after rook d1? Queen h4, h3, queen f2 check, king h1, and rook h3 is mate. Okay, queen h4 looks winning, almost. Queen h4, h3, queen check, queen f2 check, rook takes h3, knight g3 is mate. And it's mate. And here's and the nice thing I want to show you guys here is after king h2, I still play rook takes h3. No, you cannot take back with a pawn. You're forced to take back with the king. And queen g3 is checkmate. So, well, white didn't have any time to check that idea anyways, but pretty clean win so far from Naka and Meyer. What's happening here? A resignation. Yeah, that's over. Naroditsky, perennial contender on chess.com, who seems to recently have really jumped up a level in bullet. I think he's over 3,000, and I watched a few of his games. Seems to have kicked it up a notch. Usually that's an indication of spending a lot of time on bullet. Bullet's one of those time controls where it's directly related to how much time you're playing bullet. The more you play, the better you get. The less you play, the slower your reflexes. And he's playing very good speed chess recently. That's what I've noticed. So I put Naroditsky at the top. Here he is up a piece, going to convert. Maybe he'll bring his king in. Otherwise, I mean, yeah, he brings his king in. This is just over. He's an extra piece for just 2 pawns. Not enough. Savage checkmate there by Naroditsky, but not a surprise. Let's check lower down on the list. You got a game here. Alexander Lenderman. He's up 3 pawns, and his bishop importantly controls the queen in the square. So I do expect him to reel this one in, but you could foreseeably blunder here if you find a way to somehow lose that. So a7, king f4, and now maybe knight b5, knight d6. I just don't see how you need your rook to go to b8, but how do you do that easily? That's an issue. Another issue is that black can sacrifice his bishop for the pawn because he has 4 pawns extra here. So g5. g5 is going to be played, yep. And if you attack the bishop, I just move my bishop away and I'm willing to sacrifice. So bishop f3, or rook check first. Oh, we got a mate here on the board. Hey, Real Slim Shady. Win by Lenderman. Okay, let's check Tampa Chess, who streams occasionally. Here he is up a pawn And he should be winning because his king is in optimal position. Check. And now he's going to take the bishop and move his king up. What's up, Cybot from Norway? Thank you very much, buddy. Hope you can sit back, relax, ask some questions, and enjoy the show. First round, though, what we're witnessing is the favorites are winning. Something that I don't do very often. I start slow. And no surprises to me. Let's see who's the top-rated guy who lost. Actually, quite a few GMs lost. Azoria lost, Barcelona lost, Nuki lost. A few well-known players did lose. But for the most part, all the big fish are still in the pool. Tampa Chess converted this one as expected. We're going to move on to round 2. Also note Genis, K, Wonderful Time, Shimonov. A lot of 2600 Grandmasters in the pack there. Conrad Holt, one of my favorite players, is in the field. The last game of the round is a rook and knight against a rook. That is a textbook draw. One of the easier draws to make. Because the knight doesn't do a good job really of pushing a king back and sheltering your own king to bring him further, make progress. So this game, even though white is down a knight against a player 400 points rated higher, it's such a trivial draw that I don't think he will lose this. Hello, tougher guy. Hey, swap for Prez. Gonna take my fish oil now. Get some nutrients during the show. What the heck was that? Guys, instant replay. Rook c1, rook d5, knight d3, and rook c5. And the thing is, it doesn't even look like a mouse slip because the rook can't move any further down that direction. Hallucination by Silverback 96, but a very uncharacteristic blunder at this level. Rook c5, a freebie if I've ever seen one. It doesn't elicit that strong of a reaction from me because it wasn't like a top player doing it, but still shocking nonetheless. And here we go, board 1, round 2, Naka, 1 out of 1, playing Julio Sadora, one of the top players from the Philippines who lives in Texas, went to school with him. And he's a very dangerous, sharp player. I believe he made a draw with Magnus Carlsen at the Olympiad, so not to be overlooked here. Playing white on the in the King's Indian. Okay, it's always a pleasure to see Naka play the King's Indian. It really means he is looking to play for 3 results. Black plays a6, trying to play b5. If white plays a4, stopping it, black then plays a5, and he can get a grip on the b4 square. So a flexible move order from Naka. He'd like to play b5 and attack from the flank. Let's see some other matchups as well, but I expect this one to be a fun one to watch. On board 2, we have our commentator, our very own chessbrah, Amon Hamilton, playing white against Fedoseev. And we have some sort of queen's gambit declined here, where black is missing his light squared bishop, which normally favors white. I mean, he has a bishop pair, a nice structure. He's gonna queenside castle, eventually maybe go for f3, e4, open position up. Black's idea is most likely to trade off the dark squared bishops, but anyways, not a standard queen's gambit declined here for sure. We'll check back on that game. Let's go back to Naka and Sadora, King's Gambit. And he did get in b5, and white says black is taking too much time on the queen side. I'm going to open up on in the center of the board where I have more space. He plays e5. I expect maybe bishop f4 to continue. He could also consider e6, which sacrifices a pawn, but closes in, takes away some space from black's pieces, doubles the pawns, potentially weakens the king side a little bit more. E6 is the other move. It's bishop f4 or e6 to me. I'm not sure about another move. I mean, you can take on d6, but that trade takes away a bit of white's center. Okay, he does that, but that certainly wasn't what he was thinking about. How's everybody doing? Thanks, Leela. Hello, Shachmat. Hello, Olandorg from Chile. No, I'm not taking challenges. I'm not playing in the tournament. I am just your friendly neighborhood commentator. And here, you know what, guys? I'll tell you one thing. I like White's position. He's got the open e-file. He's got more space in the center. He has ideas of bishop h6, maybe trading off Black Star's squared bishop. He can maybe play queen f4. To me, it looks like a Benoni where this bishop on a6 isn't doing a whole lot. I am starting to like White's position. The one thing I don't like about White's position is that knight on a4, but I really like ideas like queen f4, maybe queen h4, maybe put pressure on d6, play b3 at some point and try to reroute your knight. But the question is, where does that knight want to go? I don't know. That's the main issue for me. The rest of White's pieces I'm happy with. And this pawn on d6 is a weakness in the Benoni, and we have a very similar structure. So, and he plays bishop f4. I'm expecting the bishop may go to h2 with some variations to provide long-term pressure on d6. Okay, knight takes b6 is going to happen because that knight was not a good knight anyways. I believe Sidora is very happy with that trade. He might play king g2 next, but either way, White should be slightly preferable here. Yeah, we might even see some more trades, but I'm liking White's position. What I'm concerned about for White, he's down a minute on the clock. We know Naka's a very tricky player. We know he's a very, very good blitz player. He knows how to take advantage of these situations where he might have a worse position, but he's up on time. He's going to find the tough moves that break you on the clock. You don't have enough time to calculate, and you start making mistakes. So as a result, he keeps the rooks on the board, which increases the possibilities in the position. It makes it a bit harder to play as White when you're not sure about the end game. Board 2, KNVB against Big Fish has... What is going on here? Queen c5 check. Maybe queen f2, trying to trade off the queens and hit the rook. A sharp position because black is threatening d4 in some variations. At the same time, white might have f5. White might be able to sacrifice the piece. Queen... this looks good for white. This looks good for white. King e7. Queen takes g6. He can lose this piece. His queen is invading, guys. Guys, KNVB. He's down to 30 seconds, but it looks like he's got a fantastic position against Big Fish 1995. I expect him to take. Queen takes. Queen f7 check. King h8. Rook f3. And you got rook h3 mate. There is a serious mating threat right here. You can't take with the pawn because you have mate here. Guys, KNVB, very close to a victory here on board 2. Amon Hamilton trying to go for the big fish. We have, and as a result, black has to move back, and white is completely winning up in exchange. He's got that passed pawn on e6, covering black's escape route. Queen's probably going to go back. f5, f6, game over for black if this continues. Just f5. Okay, he takes the pawn. Everything wins here. He's at 21 seconds. If he doesn't flag, Amon Hamilton is going to beat the number 2 seed and one of the top blitz players in the world, Vladimir Fedoseev. This attack looks unstoppable. f5. f6. Okay, he's going for this method, but count the material, and you'll find that white is ahead by 2 pawns and an exchange. He's missed a few wins, but the position is still completely winning. And as long as he stays up on the clock, I mean, I don't want to see him under 5 seconds. if you're a fan of Hambleton here. Knight h5, f6 still a threat. We're almost at that point. f6 here looks like it wins on the spot. f6, f7, and then you threaten to take the rook and you have mate. But Amon Hambleton here, he just needs to find a couple decisive moves and it will be over. He's taking a lot longer than he should, but there are many ways to win. Queen g6 has been available, but now he might regroup and try to mate him on the h file. Knight f4, great move. If the knight moves, this rook is hanging. I would... Yep. Yep. Okay, he's still missing a lot of wins, to be honest with you, but it's still such a winning position. There's absolutely no excuse not to win this. Rook e1 and e7 wins on the spot. e7, e8 can't. Okay. Yes. Take the material. Queen, push the queen up. Or that. And with 2-second increment, Amon Hambleton's a pretty good ball player. He's going to win this game. Bit worrisome at a few points where he missed a clear win, but his material advantage was so significant that there was no way to mess that up unless you blunder a checkmate, essentially. So a big upset on board 2. Amon Hambleton winning against Fedoseev and moving to 2 out of 2. On board 1, we have Naka up a piece for a pawn against Sidor in an endgame. This should be lost. We're going to see how it turns out. I wouldn't be surprised to see a resignation here. And instead he just runs out of time. Let's move to another board. Wonderful time from Vietnam playing here. But maybe the story of the round, guys, is the upset by Amon Hambleton, defeating the number 2 seed in a pretty convincing manner. One thing that wasn't good was the time management, but I mean, against a guy like Naka, you might get punished for that, but he had a very good position and converted it at the end of the day. Here we have an extra h-pawn, and the king is a little bit cut off. However, this pawn would like to be a bit further down the board, so now rook f6. White wants to get out of the checks to push the pawn, but you don't want your king to stray away too far. So we expect the pawn to be pushed. Pushed. Black's king is in time to hold here, though. I mean, this is a draw, but when you're low on time, if you make a wrong pre-move or something, I mean, you need to keep your king within the box, right? As black, you need to keep your king within the box. What it allows is sometimes you can trade rooks and your king can make it to the corner. King against the h-pawn is a draw if your king is in the corner. And the only way there's no way for white to kick the king away from the f file unless he gets his king on the f file, but black's rook occupies that. So black is here just going to rotate between f7 and f8, keeping white's king boxed in. It will be a draw. So that's the end of round 2. Just to sum things up, guys. Naka, 2 out of 2. Gorgmeyer, 2 out of 2. Mon Hamilton, 2 out of 2. Genis K, Ibarra, Vidit. Vidit, very strong grandmaster from India is there. But not that many of the top seeds are left with 2 out of 2. So round 3, we got the big match here. Hamilton against Nakamura. Shows that maybe commentating in Title Tuesday improves your chess skills. What a big match here. Mon Hamilton of Canada playing black against top seed Naka. For those who don't know, we often play Naka in our chessbrah channel. Me a lot more than Amon, but he's played Hikaru plenty of times in his career. And I'm looking forward to this. They start off with a sort of a London system. The dark squared bishops have been trade off, and black should be reasonably okay with this opening. Getting the pieces off already. Maintaining a very flexible setup. Bishop e7, a6. But we got, let's get some energy up for Hamilton against Naka. That is a rare matchup, but deserved after the upset last round. So I was watching Spartacus, and they obviously pronounce a lot of the words differently. So they say deserved instead of deserved. They're all speaking like Old English or something in that series. But it sounds fancy. One thing that black might be aiming for is to play e5 at some point and try to gain the dark squares because of the presence of light square bishops for both sides. The reason I don't like that is the knight on c6 doesn't really have a good way to go. A good place, solid footing anywhere. So right now he's probably going to keep it flexible. But you know what I'm going to say? The main enemy here for for black is time. Nak is playing quickly. He's playing confidently. He doesn't blunder. And if that's going to be the situation, Amon has to play quickly because otherwise he will blunder at some point, presumably. If he's down to like 30 seconds, Nak is very good at provoking blunders. He beats top players all the time like that. d5, a very committal move. Maybe the problem is queen e6 runs into knight g5, and your queen relinquishes that square, and white will be able to take on f6 and double the pawns. But the problem with knight takes d5 is after knight d5, ed5, this knight has to move away, and e5 pawn is hanging. So not only is he down on time significantly, this position is not looking good at all. You might have to, I think you have to play queen f8, but if you go low on time, this is not going to end well. So no matter what move he makes, the position is going to be bad, but at least have some more time on the clock. Okay, this pawn is, I just missed a feature that this d5 pawn is hanging. That actually might mean that black's position is okay. I totally thought that I was protected for whatever reason. So if d takes e4, Amon can take on d5, and if everything liquidates, he shouldn't be too concerned. It should be a lot easier to play, and he's also in the endgame. It's fairly symmetrical. Bishop takes. Bishop takes. Uh-oh. I missed that. Did anyone else miss that? Put your hand up if you missed that. I missed that tactic. That was me, my bad. Naka finding a very key tactic. Not only does he have a c-file, but it looks like he will retain a pawn advantage heading into an endgame here. So let's say king g8, queen d5, d takes c5. You trade everything off, but you are down a pawn and you're down a minute and a half. So Amon now is down a pawn. He should know what to do. Is this endgame winning? Okay, it's a very good endgame. But if you can trade off all the pawns on the queen side, 3 against 2 in a rook endgame on the same side is often a draw. Same with the knight. So Amon needs to try to get the queen side off the board. If he's going to be playing down a pawn with pawns on both sides of the board, that increases White's winning chances. But there are certainly ways to try to draw this position. I just really don't like the time situation. He's going to have to play quickly here and defend accurately. Maybe what, rook d7, king f7, but time is really such a big issue here. What's up, Har84? I'm not. I don't know the Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy. You're completely correct. Nobody wants to be in this situation. You got 17 seconds, and you're in an inferior position. But as I said, what is Black's plan to trade off the pawns on the queen side? Because 3 against 2 on the same side of the board. As I talked about earlier, a rook, a knight against rook is actually a draw. So take away all the pawns. You can even sacrifice your knight for that extra pawn, and it's a drawn endgame, right? A rook and knight does not beat a rook. So if Amon trades off more pawns, he's getting closer to being able to sacrifice that knight for that extra pawn Naka has and go into a drawn endgame. But as long as Naka keeps a pawn, that will never be possible, and our dreams will be crushed. 6 seconds. Okay, this is over, guys. The pressure is not only the pressure. White's got the 7th rank. He's got a perfect knight here. Rook here looks clinical. Rook d7. The knight has to move. Then you have knight e6 check. Rook d7. Either the king moves over, gives up this pawn, allows White out past h pawn. Otherwise, the knight comes here. That's over. You can just push this pawn or go there. Now that's over. But, I would say the culprit here was that e5 move, a bit too committal and a bit too easy to play for Naka. But you see how quickly things turned around here. I mean, it seemed innocent, and that time advantage, he really uses that well. So I think Naka's going to win this game and move to 3 out of 3. Let's see what else is going on. Board 2, Gorg Myers playing black against a fellow Grandmaster Grigor Grigorov from Bulgaria. And in the current position, black is just up a piece. Whoa! That move does not work. Or it does. Rook take. That's a very nice queen d8 check. Knight e8. Queen takes. King up. Queen e5 check. Wow. F3. F3. And we just had some sort of tactical skirmish there where black ends up being up a pawn even though he was originally up a piece. So I'm not sure why that was necessary. I need some instant replay here. Is this move possible? Bishop a6? Is that possible? Bishop a6 here? How do I stop that pin? Maybe queen f4 check. There might be a perpetual. So current position here. Sorry about going backwards. I just want to check. Black's up a pawn. He's going to play f5, f4, force the king to be passive and defend against black's passed pawn. And in the meantime, black will run his king over and try to pick off this pawn. So king d4, king c3. And I think this is just completely winning for black. But it looked like white put up some serious resistance there. Now king c3. You have to play b5. And now... Why did the king go back? Sorry, I didn't comment because I wanted to make sure I wasn't being critical of something that was very clever. I'm trying to figure out why the king went back. Take. He's calculating the king and pawn endgame. King f3, king c7, king f4, king d6, king e4, king c5, king d3. King takes b5, and black wins the pawn with his king in front. This should also be winning. He gets the king. He pushes the king in front of his pawn. See, he's putting his king in front, not the pawn first. That's the only way to mess this up. But king b4. And this is a standard, okay, or king a4. This is a standard win. King c3 would, let's say, happen. b5. King b2, and now king b4, gaining opposition. And you know how that would go. Just to show you guys, king here. You gain it, and then you move to the other side, and you push the pawn. Do we have this endgame again? We have the same endgame as before. We have the same endgame as before. What's up? Admiral Stapler has just subscribed to the chess.com Twitch channel. Thanks for joining. We've seen this one before. That's a draw. So after 3 rounds, in first place we got Scott Fox 21 and NM in the group. Naka's on 3 out of 3. Gorgmeyer, Vidit Chess, Alexander Lenderman, a few other IMs. So let's go to board 1. Naka against Lenderman. They play often in the US Championships, so these players are very familiar with their style. One thing we're noticing is Naka's opening up most of his games with d4 and bishop f4, very flexible blitz system that actually a lot of people use. Magnus plays this in blitz. Guishuk, Kramnik, very fashionable, not too theoretical, easy to play, controlled chess. Rook on c8, trying to play against that queen on c1. He moves the queen out of the way to avoid any tactics. And now bishop h5, bishop g6 to oppose that dangerous diagonal. Have I ever won Title Tuesday? Never won. I mean, from what I can see, Black's position is totally fine. He's playing quickly. They've traded off 2 pairs of pieces. He's got a compact, solid structure. Pawns on the light squares, controls the center just as much as white. He's going to play knight d7 pretty soon to maybe challenge this bishop. And Naka gives it away, actually, because it's not really an open position where that bishop is superior, but I don't see where this knight can go. If it goes knight b3, I play b6, and I stop the knight from going to c5. I don't see any reason why white is even marginally better here, which means Naka's at this point realizes it's equal and he just wants to outplay him in an endgame. b6, rook c8, or even rook c8 right away. Maybe put the bishop back to e7. You don't want to play e5 too much as black because you do give yourself an isolated pawn on d5. This is round 4. Both players on a perfect score here. If Naka wins this endgame, we are in for a treat. Knight against bishop. His pawns are on dark squares, black. Really, he has double pawns here, but they're not the worst kind. They have some mobility, some flexibility. We are in for a treat if he manages to squeeze something from here. Okay, he's trying to fix those, put his own pawns on light squares where the black bishop can't touch them. I'm still waiting to see the winning plan here. I guess f3, e4. But the good thing is when he goes e4, he wants to win the c4 square. He wants to provoke black into taking on e4, then he'll take back and play knight b2, knight c4, where he'll put pressure here and here and be very centralized. So there is some strategical value in what White's doing, but what we're once again seeing is Naka's playing so quickly and so confidently, even in positions that are relatively innocuous, that he's up a full minute here in this endgame. And now Lenderman has to decide, am I going to let White capture here and turn that into ice step on? He doesn't, and that's a good idea, because allowing that variation where I said White could go knight b2, knight c4 looks like a very serious improvement for Naka. But now Naka has a new plan. Maybe knight c2, knight e3. He wants to provoke this d pawn to move away and give the white knight the c4 square. He's not playing for a draw, that's for sure. Knight c2. We're seeing it here, folks. Knight here. And f4, stopping the knight from going to e3. Maybe now you go knight e1, knight d3, knight f2, knight g4. Does it do anything? That's the real question, though. Because on g4, I don't know how that knight gets to another square, but it's at least d3 looks like a centralized square that should be played anyways. We might be saying knight d3, e5, king f2, and g3, and breaking down the f4 pawn, and then putting your own king on f4. Either way, I'm starting to like Naka's chances more and more as he gains time on the clock. King d7 is not the right direction. I don't think he realizes that Naka wants to consider e5, king f2, and g3 in some of these variations. Interesting stuff here. Interesting stuff. Naka is the one with... Oh. He wanted to play knight c3. I think he's going to fall back to that plan that I mentioned, where you play g3. I really think you're going to be playing g3 here at a future time, but it's not. He's not going to do that right away. He wants to break away at break down Black's 50-second time situation here, and then when he's down to 10 seconds, play something aggressive or committal that forces Black to calculate when he can. So he's getting very close to doing it. As I said, guys, e5 and g3 is something I've been expecting for a while. What's up, Mark Esserman? For those who don't know, he just did a simul on chess.com, a more gambit simul. I highly recommend people partake in that. You really won't find an expert like Mark in that opening. But I think he's going to be doing it again, so look forward to watching that. I mean, there's a couple plans. There's also playing e5 and h4 to chip away at the f4 pawn. But White has a break. This isn't like a closed position of time because there is a clear break that White can do, multiple ones. But this is a game Naka wants to win so that he can afford to draw later on in the event. He's 3 out of 3. Often you need to score like 8 out of 9 to win, so every single draw counts towards the final standings. A draw here with White against a low-rated player is not what he wants. He wants to build up as much of a lead as possible and give himself some flexibility going down the stretch. but I don't. I really want to drill home the point that he's not trying to make a draw here, and he had ways of playing this. He hasn't done it yet, but he really put the knight back on d3 and go for the f4 pawn. Please do that, because that's an eventuality in the position. Oh, king here. King here. Is the bishop getting chased off the board? Can he trap? The bishop is starting to lose squares. The bishop is now stuck to the corners. Whoa! Knight d3, and the knight's going to e5. The knight's going to e5. The outplay is real. Then the bishop is trapped on g3. The bishop, he's being completely outmaneuvered, and we just have to find a win here, but that bishop is stuck on those 3 squares. That's nasty. That is nasty. But now he has to use that knight and figure out a way to win a pawn. He has to win a tempo or something. Does chess.com approve of me streaming with my hat backwards? It's a great question. So now the bishop is trapped, but he still needs a break. Okay, he's thinking ahead of me here. I'm trying to figure out what to do. So when the knight is on e5 and the black's king is on e7, there's no way to attack the b6 pawn. Huh. Guys, we are seeing blitz chess. Blitz chess here. I'm still trying to figure out what Nak is doing though. He has... Okay. Okay. If pawn takes there, you can play king g2. Okay, but now he just fixed the position. Now he just fixed the pawns. Why are the pawns fixed? I don't see a win right now. I'm gonna try to meditate here. G4 takes away any G3 break that white could have tried if you don't want to avoid the 50 move rule. Even though black is playing without a bishop, white's king can't enter, and the white knight cannot beat the king on its own. That's the first move to avoid a draw. Oh, never mind. The bishop, wrong square. Game over. No? Pawn up? Game over? Maybe not. Maybe too quick to say. G5? Can you play G5 here? No. King over. Is this still a draw? Am I? Why? You're just gonna take on G6 and you move your king over. take, move your king over. We need to go back for a second. After this, I want to check something. See, as I said, this game is a watch and learn game. He's creating chances. Maybe not with perfect play, but he's playing quick enough that, I mean, it's already 115 moves into the game. Somebody's going to blunder, right? That's game over. King g4. King g4 is that distant opposition. King h6, king h8, g7, king here, and we take opposition. We just take opposition, g7 and king g5, and you just take opposition. People were, I was reading the chat. The chat is very entertaining. I highly suggest people go on chess.com, find the tournament, and follow the games because the chat's very entertaining. Another way to do the draw is to do this and go here, and go king h5, king here, and you play king g5, and you also gain opposition. What he did was one move quicker, and if king here, you go to the side. So a winning endgame. But I do want to go back for a quick second as we go into round 5. Naka moves to 4-4. I want to go back 1 second. I'm trying to figure out if this would have been the better try. Because this does lose. Check, and this is what happened, and the bishop's trapped, and you're going to lose a pawn. So, because of that, bishop h4 doesn't look pretty. But just an example, this sort of position would be fine for black. Because the king wouldn't be able to do anything. The knight has to move away, and the bishop moves. So I think black might have been quite okay in the end, but eventually you just blunder when you're under so much pressure. Round 4, guys. And we have Naka 4-4 against the NM SHANMERUGA. GM SHANMERUGA. Never heard of him. He's an NM, but his username is GM SHANMERUGA. He's on 4-4, which is a serious score. I don't think I've ever started out so strongly. On paper, Naka's a significant favorite here. Especially because it looks like he's in pretty good blitz form. And another key game this round, just to tell everyone, we're in round 5, Title Tuesday, late night edition. Only 2 players on 4-4, perfect score, Hikaru and NM SHANMERUGA. But on 3.5 and 4, we got a bunch of the top seeds. And on 3 and 4, we have a big matchup right now. Hamilton against Naroditsky. A big matchup. D4, knight f6, c4, d6, f3, and we have some sort of Benko. We have some sort of Benko-like position where black is playing a lot faster, but I don't mind white's compact setup. He has achieved a4, b3 very quickly, which is often what you're striving for as white, to consolidate your exponent on the queen side before black uses the open files on the A and the B file to get counterplay. It looks like white has a very, very quick setup there. He hasn't castled, but he's gotten other achievements in. So that's a key game we should follow. Naroditsky is always near the top, and Amon seems to be having a good event so far. On board 1, though, I'll go back to board 1 because Naka is the main event after all. And Naka has 2 bishops, more center control, up 30 seconds. Bit of a funky setup by white here. But he's threatening knight b6. So rook b8. Queen e4 is a bit of a bizarre... Oh, that's a good move actually, because bishop e6, you have knight g5. So right now, black has 2 bishops, and white offers the draw to Big Naka. So far, this guy's on 4-4. His confidence is very high. He's an NM, performing better than all of us GMs, and he's offering Hikaru a draw. I just wish I could see his face, Naka's face. If I asked Naka for a draw in this position, even though I'm a GM, he would do that face that The Rock likes to make in wrestling. I mean, he would stare at me. He'd stare me out of the building. He would actually probably say, "Are you kidding me? Or are you serious?" There's a famous video of that, and I wouldn't be surprised that he would do that to me. Black has 2 bishops. He's got that pawn on e5 controlling a lot of center squares, so more pawns in the center, 2 bishops, open position, and he's playing a guy rated 600 points lower. I imagine Naka's disgusted with that, and I might be as well. But he might be trying to tilt Naka, although he's not the first person to try this, and normally it doesn't actually work. That's the problem. Naka tilt is pretty strong. But White's position is starting to look better and better, guys. The bishop goes to d6. This rook on b5, I'm a little bit worried about it. Like maybe b4, a4. I feel like you can trap the rook. c4 or a4. Guys, the rook is looking like it's very close to being trapped here, and Naka might be in some difficulty. He's playing very precise chess. Very precise. Knight c4 or bishop c5. This is looking lost for Naka against SHANMERUGA, the people's champ. This position is looking brutal. Bishop takes b6, and after bishop takes c3, maybe knight takes f5. Oh, knight takes f5 first. Very precise. And Naka offers a draw, which gets declined. Declined immediately. Here, board 1 drama here. We have the NM offering a draw, getting rejected, and now he rejects Naka. And now he's about to trap Naka's rook. We're about to see one of the biggest upsets in Title Tuesday history. SHANMERUGA, the people's champ, is about to slay Naka. Rook e3. Rook takes f3. Naka is going down. He's down in exchange. Oh man, this is epic. I mean, first of all, White's not only up in exchange, Black's king side is crippled. White's king very safe. And there you have it, rook d8 and bishop d4. Game over, Naka about to go down. Game over, a one-sided win after the middle game was just completely in favor of White. I mean, he outplayed Naka from the opening. He offered a draw, Naka said no, and he just smashed him. I've never seen this before. Rook d8 and bishop d4. The tactics, people. The tactics. NM SHANMERUGA moves to 5 out of 5 in first place in Title Tuesday. I've never seen this in any of my Title Tuesday events. What a beatdown. And from I mean, he offered a draw. He offered a draw. He gave Naka a chance to take a draw. I highly suggest joining the chat to see if anything happens backstage after the match. Online chairs will be thrown. But the big upset story of the event, guys. He's on 5 out of 5 with some nice middle game play. I saw that the rook could get trapped. At least I predicted b4, a4. So maybe no surprise he has GM in his name. SHANMERUGA, 5 out of 5. Let's check the next game. KNVB against Daniel Naroditsky. And that looks like game over. I'm on down a rook and bishop f4 coming. But we got to talk about the story of the event, guys. 5 out of 5. Some brilliant play here. Playing a very, very uncommon opening that gives Black a very comfortable position. But now the outplay started to happen. Knight c4 threatening knight b6, queen e4, rook c5, and that rook never gets back into a safe square anymore. Bishop e3, bishop f5, queen h4. He continues to put pressure on the rook. If rook d6, maybe bishop c5, and this was after b4. Naka found himself in a lost position because a4 and bishop c5 is coming pretty much no matter what. Wow. Brutal. One of the biggest upsets in Title Tuesday history just occurred. And it's hard to move on to another game. I am shocked. He declined Naka's draw offer. We have an endgame here is Latin56, who I believe is Laurent Fresinet from France, one of the helpers of Magnus Carlsen. He is up 2 pawns here, connected pawns, and it should be a textbook win. F4, the king is check here. Oh, maybe not here. King here. F. Maybe, oh, maybe this is a draw. King f4. King f4. Rook e2, rook a4 check. Oh, now you have rook f2. So we came at the wrong time. Now this is an easy draw. Rook f2. What are you thinking about? Okay, same thing. This is a draw, but this position shouldn't be a draw. Something very bad happened in this endgame. Connected pass pawns almost always beat. Just king. I mean, what I would do is I'd bring my king here, bring my king here, bring my king here, bring my king here, and then push the pawn. There might be some counterplay, but this should be winning. But guys, the People's Champ is in first place. GM SHANMERUGA. He has GM in his name, and he's playing like a GM right now. He's on 5 out of 5, just defeating Naka. Who else has he beaten to get to this point? Let's check on the games. He defeated Zviad Azoria, 2 NMs and an FM. So he hasn't had the toughest field, but he did beat 2 strong grandmasters to get where he is right now. So some serious damage being dealt. The revenge of the National Masters here. Whoa. And board 1. The People's Champ, SHANMERUGA, on 5 out of 5 from Atlanta. Welcome to Atlanta, where the players play. Representing the state of Georgia against Georg Meyer. German national team player living in Sweden. I have to say, Georg should be a massive favorite in this exchange. Fianchetto, Grunfeld, whatever it's called. But you got to go with the momentum here as well. I think the underdog pick is this guy. This guy's an underdog pick for sure. What can I say is, I mean, this line is a little bit better for white. It's very positional, quite solid, not very tactical. It's right down Meyer's alley. He's a very, very solid player. He likes these slow, strategical positions. So we'll see what black has for him here. Already, knight takes c6 and bc6, and a bit of a pawn structure weakness for black will occur if that happens. Floppy Dorito offers me a draw. I'm gonna accept your draw offer. I'm not gonna be risking it. And guys, SHANMERUGA has just offered a draw as black against Georg Meyer. Same as last time. You know what he's up to. You know what he's up. Offers a draw, and Meyer declines. So I think Georg is saying, look, Naka declined, he lost, I'm gonna decline. but I think I can handle this position. I have white, and maybe that game was a fluke. Because I'll tell you one thing: if a guy just beat Naka and he offers me a draw, I'm probably going to take it because I can't beat Naka. Naka's my dad when it comes to blitz. So huge props to Gorgmeyer for having more ambition than me. As a safe way to put that. What's up, Chris the Savage? Nice to see the chat is growing. More people are coming in because the People's Champ is here. We're witnessing one of the biggest stories in Title Tuesday history right now. And what's on board 2? Naka on 4 to 5 is still a contender. I mean, after all, 4 more rounds to go, and if this NM loses a game, Naka can catch him immediately. Naka's playing Alex Shimonov, Russian Grandmaster, studying at Webster in St. Louis. Naka's got white here, but it seems like black is a very comfortable position. More space, great bishops, active king, well-placed knight. I prefer the space advantage for black here completely, and that reflects on the time situation. You rarely see Naka down on time unless he's very uncomfortable with the position. To be fair, you put yourself in Naka's shoes, he has to be rattled. He just got obliterated by NM, especially after the NM offered a draw. I don't know what his mentality is like right now, but I'm glad to see he's still in the event. But this position, black should be very happy. Look at the deep placement of the pawns. And I believe he has just dropped a pawn. Knight takes. Why can't you take this? You can even go check. What am I missing? Is he considering to take with a pawn? What am I missing here? Rook here, but this pawn is hanging. If rook here, I go knight b6. No, Naka sacks an exchange. Drastic measures being taken here, but I think he had to. And now bishop a4. The good thing is black cannot trade off rooks very easily. If black could trade off rooks, white finds himself down a full exchange. But here, white keeps the rooks on the board. He's going to use his very good bishops to harass black and create some serious counterplay. I mean, it is a must-win game for anybody trying to catch board 1. Board 1 is, as I said, guys, Gorg loves to squeeze. Loves to push these little edges. Very good at that. And here he is, and I can't help but think that white is just clearly better. He's attacking this pawn. It looks like it's hanging to me. Yeah. Guys, Gorgmeyer may be defeating our leader. I mean, the leader of the event. I think he represents more than just the event, though. I mean, I think he represents NMs and CMs and non-FIDE title players. He's really overperforming. Rook a4, very nice regrouping. He's gonna play rook c4. He's gonna play rook a4. Try to put pressure on a5. He can always play bishop d2. And the point is, even if he loses this d4 pawn, if he wins a5, he's gonna have connected a and b pawns, which is almost always a winning advantage. Let's check back on the Naka game. It seems like his exchange sacrifice has paid off. He is going to push this pawn home slowly but surely. Maybe king e3, next move king e3, so that e4 is not hanging. There we go. And now c6, c7, and what a reversal. That's a very, very strong practical decision. At an uncomfortable stage of the game, Naka decided to be practical, gave up the exchange, and changed the course of the game entirely, and it seems to have paid off. It seems like black was not ready to adjust to the change in the position, where he went from a better position to, well, a material advantage, but a material advantage which requires a lot of accuracy. Even e5 here looks playable. e5, h4, king f4. A serious button. That's nasty. That's nasty. Bishop e5 can be played. Bishop e5, c7, c8. This looks good. Let's check back on board one. And Gorgmeyer, guys, he's up 2 pawns. It looks like he's going to win. The dream has at least been temporarily halted, but SHANMERUGA offers another draw. Another draw being offered here. What's the reasoning behind that one? If it's that's surprising. I mean, you can't be off. Is he trying to? So we have a new strategy here, guys. We are seeing disruption being used, and it could be a good thing in blitz. Hey, in blitz, ethics aren't as important. If you feel like pissing off your opponent, I mean, you see street hustlers do that all the time. You're allowed to do that. But we are seeing a new element in the Title Tuesday tournament right now. Down 2 pawns, about to offer a third. Interesting. I mean, I'll be honest, I might not react very pleasantly if somebody did that to me. I'd probably be typing right now, but these guys surely have better class than me. Let's go back to Naka, where he's squeezing Shimonov. Yep. G6. Whoa, whoa, whoa. A misplay by Naka. Rook d3, and Naka's all of a sudden down a pawn. This is headed towards a draw. Bishop f5. G5, and it's a complete draw. Complete draw. Naka. Whoa. What happened here? What was wrong with my move, guys? Just sorry, I need to go back. Oh, not that far. Naka is probably drawing there, but something happened. Can somebody tell me what's going on here? Okay, this is a draw, by the way, because it's just h-pawns after white picks us off. These guys are just teasing each other. But what that means is if Naka draws, he's still going to be behind SHANMERUGA. He still isn't catching the guy who defeated him. And that means Gorgmeyer really will be taking... Oh, these guys are still playing on. And finally, Meyer wins by checkmate after Black refuses to resign. Bishop takes h5, I'm expecting. After this game finishes, I have to go back. I believe Naka missed some wins there. I might be wrong. King f4. These guys are trolling each other right now, by the way. The tournament has changed. The dynamic of the event has changed. I believe it's now turned into anarchy a little bit. I think people are offering draws. They're not resigning. They're not accepting draws. In this game, Naka offered a draw and Shimonov offered a draw, and they both declined, even though it was clearly a draw. I think the disruption is causing some consequences. But I just want to go back here for a second, guys, because I think this was a critical game. I think Naka needed to win. Now the maximum score he can get is 7.5. And what I'm trying to figure out is, am I missing? Is this move bad? Is it because of a3? Maybe it's because of a3. Maybe it's a3. Yeah, maybe. I thought white was completely winning here, and it turns out I think I'm wrong. I thought here that white had a serious grip, maybe h4, bishop e5, but it turns out it's not so easy. Maybe a3 is the problem, and there was no actual mate here. Okay, that makes more sense. And now you can't go yeah, okay, that makes more sense. So it wasn't as easy as I thought. But anyways, Naka was definitely in the driver's seat here. And missing out on a half point there is serious. White is trying to win this. The only way to win this is to win the clean bishop. What's up? I came from Mario. Mark, which endgame? Yeah, let me know if you have any questions about the games. I know I'm not watching too many games. I'm sorry it's the Naka show, but now we have a new player competing for television time, prime time. SHANMERUGA, the People's Champ, who's really ignited the crowd. Our numbers have doubled since he slayed Naka, so that's great, great for the stats. What's up, NGHA714? Glad to hear it's your first time here. Let me see if I can find the Meyer game. I think I might have closed it. These guys are refusing to make a draw. That's the story of the event. Set by NMGM SHANMERUGA, who refused the draw against Naka. Now nobody accepts draws and everyone plays till the death. I like that. I like that idea. I hope you guys all take from that. If a higher rated player, if a 600 point favorite plays against you and offers a draw, decline and beat him up. That's heavy. So board 1, round 7. First place Gorgmeyer, 5.5 out of 6, playing Daniel Naroditsky, who has dropped 1 point in the event, but is in second place, 5 out of 6. If he wins, he'll be at the top. Anything can happen that game. Board 2, Naka. Actually, maybe that's not board 2. He's on 4.5 out of 6 after a loss and a draw against lower-rated opposition. He's playing Wilson Palencia, representing Venezuela, and I am in the midst of GMs. But board 3 is what we all want to see. We want to see the coach of Magnus Carlsen, his second, one of his main seconds, Laurent Fresnay from France. Many time 2700 plus player, elite player. He's playing white against SHANMERUGA here on board 3. Both players on 5 out of 6. So the winner of this could easily find themselves back on board 1 next round. So we're going to keep our eyes out on for this game, because this is a Cinderella story. Are we going to see an early draw offer? Time will tell. See some other games. Amon Hamilton is on 4 out of 6 against Ibarra, the Spanish Grandmaster, also on 4 out of 6. Should be a good game, this one. We might check back on that later. And what we see is white is adopting a reverse Slav. He played a3, b4, and now he finally played c4 to improve that bishop on b2. But interesting setup. Maybe throwing black into unfamiliar territory. But board 1, I really think should be focused. Meyer and Naroditsky, 2 class blitz players. Why is white refraining from castling? Because he wants black to take on g3, then white will take with the h-pawn, keep his rook on the h-file, and create threats against black's king. Then he might castle queenside. So we have a bit of a strategical battle right off the bat. I'm expecting him to take here at this point. Yeah. But that's why white is refraining from castling. We got Naka. Not in a bit of trouble. Why isn't queen c7 being played instantly? Is there a tactic I'm missing? Is it knight e6, queen g6? Castle could be played, but castle would run into a draw. Knight takes e6, forking the queen and the rook after f e6, queen g6, and white has at least a draw. So Naka couldn't castle, but anything else is game. What's up, Disaster 69? We are here observing a very interesting event. Partly thanks to Hikaru's participation and a slew of other strong GMs, but partly because of the tournament sensation And Naka with the intermezzo, knight d5, not recapturing right away, threatening knight c3. That's a very, very, very sexy move. Now a takes b5. He gained a very valuable tempo, centralizing his knight with some serious threats. Now he takes back, just a very aesthetic way of handling the middle game, not castling yet, putting all his pawns on the light squares, locking the position down, except for the a file, where he can use that a file and put serious pressure against White's exposed king. I like what he's doing there. Back to this game, Naroditsky against Meyer. Naroditsky did provoke the h-file, and now he's got the initiative. Knight takes h6 check, already a threat. In fact, this just looks really good for White. I mean, if you have to play king h7, I might just follow up with queen h5, and I'm still threatening knight takes h6. Let's go back to the People's Champ, SHANMERUGA. Rook d1 happened, b5, knight g5, queen e7, knight g5, queen e7 forced because bishop h7, the queen falls. Knight takes h7, take. Guys, SHANMERUGA is up a piece against the French, well, the gold medalist from the most recent Olympiad. Laurent Fresnay, 1 gold medal on board 4, I believe, and he's the coach of Magnus Carlsen. He is in serious trouble against SHANMERUGA. He is down a minute and a half. He's down a piece. He has 2 pawns. 2 pawns isn't enough for a piece. We could be seeing another big upset. We could be seeing nobody's safe. Naka's not safe. The coach of Carlsen isn't safe. Nobody's safe right now. You better hide your wife. You better hide your kids. And you better take a draw for when it's being thrown at you. Let's see what happens here. Queen g5, threatening mate in 1. The pressure is on. The pressure is on. Now it's Black's turn to attack. Let's see what happens here. Let's see what happens here. The queen is aggressively placed. He's up a minute. Is he going to go rook d8? Okay, you can't move the knight away. What a sexy move. Bishop f3. Why? You can't take knight captures and it's a check. Otherwise you'd have made, but bishop f3, a critical move that almost wins on the spot. Holy smokes. Where did that come from? Bishop takes. Queen h5 check. This looks like it's lost. Looks completely lost. He pulled that out of thin air. Instant moves, guys. He's up a minute. And we are about to see, maybe this guy will be the next second of Magnus. He is crushing Fresnay with Black. And after I played Fresnay in a castle, he crushed me. I mean, wow. Game over. Game over. The People's Champ forces a resignation, a crushing victory over the, I believe, second highest rated FIDE player in the event. He's beaten now the top 2 Grandmasters in the tournament by FIDE rating. And he's beaten them convincingly. Look at the time. 1:15 to 5 seconds. Up a piece. He's threatening a queen and a rook. SHANMERUGA moves to 6 out of 7. And he continues the Cinderella story. That's an application work for Magnus if I've ever seen one. Not really, because it's the opening work. But what a strong NM. I mean, wow. Wow, 6 out of 7. Naroditsky wins with a crushing win though. Let's go. Sorry, we got to give Naroditsky some credit here. He was in the lead. Queen g4. He used the h-file. Bishop g5. Bishop b3 is unbelievably powerful because of what happened in the game. I think queen f6 was warranted. Meyer thought it might have been a slip. Thought he dropped the soap. Naroditsky definitely didn't drop the soap here. He has queen takes g5, threatening that after h takes g5, knight e7 is mate, and we see the benefit of that rook on the h-file. And if you move anywhere else, like g6 to stop the mate, well, after queen takes h6, queen h7, queen g7, queen h8 are all mates. There's no way for Black to stop all 3. He has no more checks. So, a very, very nice tactic by Naroditsky to win the game, and a really, really good display of how to use that h-file to your advantage. Again, queen f6 probably had to have been played. I'm not sure. This might still be very promising for White. You want to play f4. The only issue is after f4, take. Maybe here things get a little sharp. But either way, white should be very happy with a powerful bishop, powerful knight, open h-file, well-placed queen. A really nice game by Naroditsky, but the problem for Daniel Naroditsky is he's facing SHANMERUGA next round, and that's not going to be a pretty sight. So, so far, after 7 rounds, in first place, NM SHANMERUGA, after defeating Fresnay, Azoria, and Nakamura convincingly. But tied with him is Daniel Naroditsky, representing California. We got the state of California against the state of Georgia, GM against NM. But it seems like the people's champ has the momentum right now. If you're betting, you want to get put some money on the serious underdog here. He's producing results that I've never seen in Title Tuesday before. In second place. Okay, are there any games going on? Naka 1. Okay, let me put a game on so you don't just hear me blabbing. Vedit against Wonderful Time. Are these guys still playing? They are. And these guys are both on 4.5 out of 6, so they're still contending here. Okay, while you guys watch this game between two of the pre-tournament favorites, I want to tell you that Meyer's on 5.5 out of 7, Naka's on 5.5 out of 7, Shimanov's on 5.5 out of 7, and Geneske. So we got 4 strong GMs chasing them on 5.5 out of 7, but they're going to need someone else to slow him down. What's up, Decline 433? Are they going to create this SGM title? SGM is not the correct title in this context. It's SNM, Super NM. We have Super GMs. We don't have too many Super NMs. Here we go. We have a game here. Amon Hambleton has a queen for a rook and 3 pawns. Now, if there are no pawns on the board for white, this would be considered a draw. You could make a fortress as black very easily with these 2 pawns on f6 and e5. But with the presence of this a4 pawn, white aspires to turn that into a queen before black can push his pawns. And there's a very high chance that that will actually happen, because white can always gain tempi with queen checks. Also, black needs to also be careful that he doesn't push the pawns too quickly while his king is in the open. But I would say here it's either going to be a draw or a win for white. Very nice move, very nice move. When is the next time I'll be in St. Louis? I don't know yet, but hopefully soon. This is looking promising for white. However, some precision is needed, and he's got 2 seconds. Easy to slip up it with 2 seconds. Well, this is going to be interesting because endgame experts can tell me, is this... This is a nice move. He's going to threaten the queen. Is this like a random draw? No, king b1. If you queen, I play a7. There's no way for black to stop the second queen from happening. And then this f5 pawn is a bit far away. Remember, queen against rook wins. The difference is if white is quick enough to stop that pawn. I don't think he is. I think this might be a no, this king d1. King d1, right? Okay. Okay, Mon's got 5 seconds, so I can't really commentate too much, but it feels like black's got his pawn down pretty much in the ideal location. Especially the king is stuck on c1, which isn't good in some variations. Check king here. Just rotate the king between these 2 squares. The rook on g2 covers the king. I mean, that should be Mm-hmm. Tabla in Spanish. I'm trying to figure out who's playing for a win here. I mean, the only reason I say that is because if white over pushes, I see a couple positions where you can actually blunder as white. You know, with your king on the in the first rank. I mean, oh, white's the one playing for a win, but he's got 5 seconds. You see how this happens. Check, and if king here, king f2, queen e1 would have been mate. Game over. He just blundered. Guys, a very, very unfortunate blunder by Amon, and that's where the king is misplaced on the d file. That's why I said I really could have seen. I can see how you lose this as white when you have no time. You got to fix that time management, because anybody can blunder like that. But with the king stuck on the first rank, I actually saw this exact trick before. Rook g1, queen e1, f2, and but you just have to play faster. Brutal. That's a very tough loss for Amon. But now we got round 8, guys. As I mentioned, Nerditsky and SHANMERUGA from Atlanta. Board 1, both players on 607, tied for first. Predictions, let me know in the chat your predictions. If you give me good odds, I might take you up on a bet. Board 1, Nerditsky representing the Grandmasters against NM SHANMERUGA representing the NMs and the SNMs. SNM? Doesn't SNM stand for something? Sadomasochist is a sadist? SNM, not, yeah, okay, anyways. SNM sounds wrong. Is that a Rihanna song? Is SNM a Rihanna song? I don't know what I'm saying, but I feel like I'm referring to something besides chess. Yeah. Well, the way he's playing is related to that. He's really crushing some people here. SNM here. Super National Master SHANMERUGA. It took me until, like, I can't beat Naka in blitz like that, so huge credit. But he is overmatched here. He's playing Nerditsky, and Nerditsky has been playing really well online lately, as I mentioned earlier. He's one of my pre-tournament favorites. But I mean, in the year of underdog picks, guys, in the year of underdogs, how can you not think that SHANMERUGA is going to win this event? Right? I mean, even look at how competitive Karyakin was. And look at everything happening. I think this guy is going to change the way we think about Title Tuesday. I mean, that's impressive. But you know what? It hasn't been a clean way to the top. He lost to Gorg Meyer. He got dismantled in a slow positional game, something Meyer is very good at. So he is showing some weakness as well, but his fighting spirit... Well, actually, he's been offering a lot of draws too. But every time he offers a draw and it gets declined, he starts playing really well. So I think the moral of the story is, once again, take a draw. Here, though, Black's got 2 bishops. It looks like he wants to maybe put that knight on c5. He's got a protected pass pawn. Everything indicates that this is a nice position for Black. He's got active bishops. He has potential maybe play... Whoa! Nope, I just missed a tactic. Ignore what I just said, guys. He is... No, that's an excellent tactic. Knight d4, e4, e5, and you're threatening queen to h7, mate. So a fantastic way to not only ruin Black's structure, but to get rid of his bishop pair. Whoa, very nice. Here, g6, take Queen takes, and this pawn is weak. Isn't this pawn weak? Isn't this looking good for white now? Why is he taking time? Is there something I'm missing here? Is there an intermediate move I'm missing here? Why is white taking time here? SHANMERUGA, the people's champ from Atlanta, Georgia, with the tactics. Is he gonna play? Is he playing with our hearts? He's getting us all in. Yes, yes. And now you're gonna now take on here. Rook d1, and this d4 pawn is gonna fall, and then he is gonna be up a full pawn with a better structure. Isolated pawn a6. This is looking like a serious advantage now. Although maybe rook e8 has. There are some tactics with rook e8. There's a very common idea. Rook e8, rook takes, queen takes d4, and now rook e1 check. That's actually a little tricky here, but I think you can still get away with it. Queen d4, rook e8, king h2, rook e1, king h2. You can still do it as white. He's been calculating, he's got this all figured out, but the difference is he's down a minute, he's got to play a bit faster, but rook e1, you can just sidestep and play king h2. And I don't see the combination working for black. And the risk that black takes is if he plays rook e1, he's trading into an endgame. He's offering more trades, or more pieces are threatening each other, which means more trades. And white is now up a clean pawn. SHANMERUGA. SNM-brah, as we would say in the chessbrah channel. A super national master. There's a lot of super FIDE masters. When I was a FIDE master, I was like almost 2450 FIDE. I just haven't seen as many national masters like this. Maybe f3. Maybe f3 here. What's the threat? Queen c7, queen d6. He offers a draw. SHANMERUGA offers a draw up a pawn, but he's down 30 seconds. Will Daniel Naroditsky take the draw? And he declines. Oh, no, you do not decline. You do not decline against Shan. You do not decline against Shan. That is the... He's good. That was the worst mistake of his life, probably. Do not... No. He hasn't been watching the stream. No. Do not decline a draw. No. Big mistake. I'm calling this one 1-0. Maybe not. If Daniel wins this, he's a legend. He is a legend. Because we saw what happens when you decline a draw. So if he wins this, he will go down in the record books. But I mean, white has the extra pawn on the queen side, black has the extra on the king side. Still slightly prefer white, but black's got a time advantage. He offered another draw, I think. He offered another draw? Is that right? Yes. 2 draws. He has offered another draw, but it's been declined immediately by Naroditsky, trusting his endgame skill. The Grandmaster is trusting his endgame skill to outplay SHANMERUGA. Guys, story of the event. This is board 1, 6 out of 7. Both players on a hot streak right now. But SHANMERUGA has been upsetting people 400 or 500 points higher rated than him, and Naroditsky wouldn't even be his top scalp of the event. But what I do is I like Naroditsky's time advantage. I like his ballsy play. He declined a draw down a pawn. I mean, that's respect. I think whoever wins this game wins the tournament. These two guys seem to be the cream of the crop right now. He offers another draw here. Another draw has just been offered by SHANMERUGA, and that's a 3rd rejection by Daniel Naroditsky. The question is Naroditsky getting frustrated by these repeated draw offers? Is the NM rattling him? That is the question. That is a serious question here. And now Naroditsky's finding himself down 4 seconds. Anything can happen here. I mean, he had a 20-second time advantage. He was pushing his pawns. Now, all of a sudden, SHANMERUGA finds himself with the outside pass pawn. For those who don't know, pawn endgames, outside pass pawn is the most important. King e3. King is moving to e3. And now this knight is tied down to the outside pass pawn. Now only white can be better. SHANMERUGA has just reversed position here. He is now on top of Daniel Naroditsky. He's up 10 seconds, and now he is the only one who could conceivably win here because of that. Are they going to make a draw here? Oh, Naroditsky decides to force a repetition as he feels the pressure. Very close game between the tournament leaders, Naroditsky and Meruga. So good game to those two gentlemen. Now let's go to another game going on. Remember, there's other players in the event like Hikaru Nakamura, one of the top players in the world. Easy to get distracted here. Naka's just up a rook here, and he wins. He moves to 6.5 out of 7, and he catches up to the tournament leaders. So Naka will probably play Naroditsky, and that means Meruga may have easier pairings, because Meruga has played Naroditsky, Frezene, Meyer, Nakamura. SHANMERUGA, I believe, has the best tiebreaks out of any player in the event, and that is going to be critical for him. Here we have Amon Hambleton in typical time pressure, but he's up 2 queens and a rook. Have you ever seen this before? Hambleton up 2 queens and a rook, but again, low on time. Don't play queen c3. Queen c3 runs into a mate in 1. Sorry, king d4 runs into a mate in 1 here. But this time management might really cripple him in the future. Now, if queen check king here, and the king has an escape route all the way to h3, I believe black is completely winning here, but that was a little close for comfort. Down to 5 seconds with a naked king. But it looks like Hamilton will win this game, move to 5 out of 8. There we go. Key win there. But wow, 2 queens and a rook. Story of the event, guys. We got a 3-way tie for first. Naka, Meruga, Naroditsky. The chasing pack was 6 out of 8. We're heading into the final round of the Late Night Title Tuesday, which has had a lot of drama. We got Frezene, Shimonov, Meyer, Vidit. Wonderful time. And a women's grandmaster from China. What's her name? How do I find this? Woman GM FH2411. Unnamed. Guys, final round. This is for all the cash. Board 1. Naroditsky playing white against Naroditsky playing white against Hikaru Nakamura. An all USA matchup on board 1. In fact, an all USA podium right now. All 3 players are from the US, where we got the states of, I think, Florida, Georgia, and California, all on 6.5 out of 8. For those who don't know, Naka is playing for Miami in the upcoming Pro Chess League. Well, it looks like black has a pretty serious pawn center here, although they are a little loose. Maybe knight goes to e4, maybe pawn to c3. But you know what? The people's champ is on board too. SHANMERUGA playing black, playing a sort of Grunfeld setup here against an IM from Vietnam. Wonderful time with a pretty monstrous 2683 blitz rating. So by no means is this a pushover. He's better than most GMs at blitz. So once again, white should be favored strongly based on, you know, normal factors. But it looks like this guy's having the tournament of his life, and I'm very impressed. I can say that for sure. Let's go back to board 1. Naroditsky against Naka. And I believe these players, when they play, it's very competitive. They trade a lot of wins. Daniel has a very good blitz style, very sharp, very tactical, and he's able to score a lot of points, a lot of upsets. Here, I guess knight g6, king h7, knight f8, King G8. The problem is white is up in exchange, but his knight is trapped, so that variation wouldn't work. Key move F4. I like that move because after rook F4, you can play knight G6, and your knight goes back to F4 where it's safe. The issue here. Okay, well now Naraditsky should just claim an advantage. He puts his bishop back. He says, look, this bishop is misplaced. This pawn on E6 is weak. My pawns are great. You have loose pawns. Your knight's bad. Your pawn structure is bad. My development's better. White should have a serious edge. And white does have a serious edge here. So right now, Naraditsky with the initiative. I mean, maybe even Queen G5. And Queen G5 has been played instantly. Some serious tactical pressure from from Daniel Naraditsky, sorry, against Hikaru. And it all comes down to Naka losing a critical game against SHANMERUGA. Because he did everything else he needed to do, but I don't think his tournament strategy was involved that. And Naka offers a draw. A draw offered by black in a much worse position, but will Naraditsky play safe? Will he play it safe, or will he be I mean, if you play the position, you don't take a draw. If you play it safe, you take a draw. But this position is brutal for black. You really do have a worse structure. I think you should play on as white. But I think both of these players are quite afraid of what the other player with 6.5 out of 8 could do, which is SHANMERUGA. If he wins, these guys fall out of the money. So Naka, by offering a draw, gives SHANMERUGA a chance to win clear first. And here we go. Board 2, a very, very, very competitive setup. 7 pawns apiece, 3 pieces, queens, rooks. And SHANMERUGA has offered 2 draws consecutively, both declined. We are seeing a common theme here. Offer a draw, frustrate your opponent, and also he's outplaying his opponents as well, but he is offering a draw. It is like a war call. It is a battle cry. A draw offer and then kick things into another gear. Like, you want to decline my draw? I'm gonna make you pay for that. And he's backing it up. 2 draws being offered by Meruga on board 2, 6.5 out of 8, and we have a draw agreed on board 1 in this position. What? B3? Isn't this position disgusting for black? I mean, your knight's tied down. Okay, okay, but the players have had a fantastic event. This is the risk-averse decision. But this position looks brutal for black. Your knight's trapped. The knight on e5 is perfect. You can play b3 and stop c4. You can then play h4, g4, and slowly bring your pieces in. This knight is a non-factor. Draw. And you know what that means, guys? SHANMERUGA with the win here wins Title Tuesday. The people's champ here, representing all the underdogs. SHANMERUGA here. He's down 30 seconds. He's now given white a connected passed pawn. But he has winning possibilities as well. Maybe f4. And f4, he takes a chance right away. Probably play queen e6. Blockade that passed pawn. Play queen f7. Don't trade queens. Probably not. Maybe. Okay. If you trade queens, I'm not sure how this is good for black. But he now has a path to victory. This is like the chess, you know, not the chess selection, but we see a logical path to victory here for SHANMERUGA. If he wins this game, he moves to 7.5 out of 9 and clear first. Right now, 7 out of 9 is first place. Bishop is going to go to a5, and it looks like a fantastic square. Maybe rook e6 first, though. Rook e6, maybe rook g6. Guys, you should not be leaving, because right now we may see the biggest upset in Title Tuesday history if SHANMERUGA pulls off this upset. This is a strong late night edition. This is stronger than normal. We have a lot of good blitz players. h6. h6 is going to be played. And I see bishop a5, b4 coming, and I see black's passed a pawn becoming a serious factor. And he immediately throws out bishop a5. I believe that what is going to end up happening is that this bishop here may become a bad bishop. And black will play around that and try to create a passed pawn. SHANMERUGA offers a draw, a third draw offer, declined by wonderful time. Wow. Another draw being offered, fourth draw offer. SHANMERUGA here, guys, playing for first place. We've already labeled him an SNM. Brah. Super, aka Super National Master. This is incredible. He's playing good chess, he's offering a lot of draws, and he is showing that NMs should not be underestimated. He has lost though. So if he overplays his cards here, he will not find himself in the winner's circle at all. He needs at least a draw to tie for first. A draw will tie for first, a win will win outright first, and a loss gives him nada. Maybe a large split for a small prize. And he lost. He did lose to Gorgmeyer in this sort of slow position earlier in the event. So it's not outside of the realm of possibilities. I think all three results are possible still. But one of the biggest upsets in history today, guys. Naka losing against SHANMERUGA in an otherwise nice event by Hikaru. And it looks like black is making progress. Is this open FL worth anything? Is there any... The problem is black can't double against this. Bishop c3? Is bishop c3 a threat? And he stops bishop c3. Is the question is white gonna go for a draw? b4? No? No b4? I think the strategy is to keep offering draws until white gets so frustrated he overpushes, and then SHANMERUGA will take his opportunity. But right now, guys, the evaluation's not changing, so I'm not really commentating on the evaluation. They're maneuvering. I'm just talking about what's at stake here. And bishop c3 is finally available, and bishop b2. Guys, this is getting very close to loss now. You might have b4, a3, a2, or you might be able to reroute your rook. That's a prime position for black's bishop. Putting pressure on d4, putting pressure on a3. King here forced. This is getting... Is he going to force a draw? It looks really good. Okay, he forces a draw. Black against a much higher player, still a good result. And that means that there is a six-way tie for first. A six-way tie. But SHANMERUGA had the second best tie breaks. I believe he must be the highest finishing NM in a Title Tuesday. 7 out of 9. We have Hikaru Nakamura with the best tie breaks. SHANMERUGA, Daniel Naroditsky, Laurent Fresnay, Alexander Shimanov, Vidit. 6 players on 7 out of 9. They all share first place. But the story of the event has to go to SHANMERUGA. He scored multiple upsets. He captured the people, the hearts of the people. And, you know, one thing a lot of people ask me, Eric, is it too late to play chess? Eric, can I become a GM and I'm whatever? I think one thing I always say, the most common question I get is, can I become a chess master? And I almost always answer yes. I believe almost anybody can become an NM with enough work. When talent or starting young plays a bigger role is at the GM level, becoming a GM. But almost anybody can become an NM, and if NMs, you've seen what NMs are capable of doing here. that should provide a lot of hope for a lot of people. I think most people can become NMs. That's 2,200, for example. If you put enough work, if you play enough tournaments, but you don't have to start really young. You don't have to have special talent. You can play like that. I'm being dead serious about that. NM is well within reach for most people if you stick with chess long enough. It's definitely realistic. And congratulations to all the top finishers, 6 players with 7-9. The tiebreaks just changed, and it changed a little bit that somehow Naroditsky and SHANMERUGA, despite leading most of the event, their tiebreaks weren't good, but I think they split the prizes. The cash gets split evenly. So you just have 7-9 for those 6 players. Once again, guys, thank you for joining me. Congrats to Nakamura, Frezene, Shimanov, SHANMERUGA, Naroditsky, and Vidit. Special shout out to our commentator from earlier today, Amon Hamilton. He finished with 6 out of 9, which is one of the best scores he's put in recently, and he had some good moments there. So shout out to Amon. Shout out to J Postuma, NM J Postuma, strong NM as well. A strong NM, but not an SNM. He finished with 4.5 out of 9, another chessbrah on the field. And shout out to all of you people, all 767, Boeing 767, all the viewers who joined me tonight for this special late night Title Tuesday. I hope you guys were entertained. I was truly entertained. I really was. As our future POTUS would say, you guys are great people, truly great people. I had a lot of fun. And I can't wait to see you guys soon. This was Late Night Title Tuesday edition on chess.com. 6-way tie for first with 7 out of 9. Almost everybody lost the game. Hope you guys enjoyed it. I will see you soon. Have a good evening.